Picture this. It's 2025, and Sarah just got laid off. She's 42, spent 15 years climbing the corporate ladder at a stable company. Did everything right, the degree, the promotions, the long hours. And now, her skills are outdated. AI took half her team's jobs. The company restructured. She's suddenly competing with freelancers in India who charge a third of what she needs to survive. Her entire career plan just evaporated. Here's the terrifying part. Sarah's story isn't unique. It's happening to millions of people right now. The old rules of work, get a degree, find a good job, work hard, retire with a pension, they're dead. And most people haven't noticed yet. Are you building your career on a foundation that's already crumbling? Hello, everyone. Today, we're diving into The Shift. The Future of Work is Already Here by Lynda Gratton, a book that will fundamentally change how you think about your career, your skills, and your future. Lynda Gratton isn't some guru making predictions from an ivory tower. She's a professor at London Business School who spent years researching what's actually happening to work right now. Today, she interviewed hundreds of people, analyzed demographic trends, studied technological disruption, and mapped out exactly how work is changing and what it means for you. Here's what you'll learn by the end of this video. You'll understand 5 forces that are reshaping every career and every industry. You'll discover the 3 shifts you must make if you want to thrive instead of just survive. And most importantly, you'll get a concrete action plan for building a future-proof career in a world where the old rules no longer apply. This isn't about predicting the future. It's about recognizing what's already happening and positioning yourself to win. Stay with me, because in the next few minutes you'll see why working harder at your current job might be the worst career decision you can make, and what successful people are doing instead that most people completely miss. Let's start with the uncomfortable truth. The career model your parents followed is broken. And I mean completely, irreversibly broken. For 50 years, the deal was simple. You got educated. You found a company. You worked hard. You climbed the ladder. The company took care of you. Steady paycheck. Benefits. A pension. Predictable progression. You traded loyalty for security. That deal is dead. Here's what killed it. Gratton identifies 5 massive forces that are fundamentally reshaping work, and they're not slowing down, they're accelerating. Force number 1 is technology. And I don't just mean computers got faster. I mean artificial intelligence is eliminating entire job categories. Machine learning algorithms can now do tasks that used to require years of human expertise. The lawyers who used to spend days reviewing contracts, software does it in minutes. The radiologists who analyze medical images, AI does it more accurately. The financial analysts crunching numbers, automated. This isn't coming, it's here. Force number 2 is globalization. You're not competing with the person in the next cubicle anymore. You're competing with someone in Manila, Bangalore, or Warsaw who has the same skills and works for half your salary. The internet made geography irrelevant for knowledge work. If your job can be done remotely, someone somewhere will do it cheaper. Force number 3 is demographics. We're living longer, way longer. The traditional model was work for 40 years, retire at 65, die at 75. Now, people are living to 90, 100, beyond. You cannot retire at 65 with enough money saved to live comfortably for 35 more years. It's mathematically impossible for most people. You're going to work longer, which means you need a career that can sustain you for potentially 60 years, not 40. Force number 4 is societal change. The nuclear family model, the single-income household, the stable community, all of that is fragmenting. Families are more distributed. Both partners usually work. People move more. The old social safety nets are dissolving. You can't count on family or community to catch you the way previous generations could. Force number 5 is energy and environmental constraints. This one's sneaky but massive. As resources get scarce and expensive, as climate change creates disruptions, entire industries will be transformed. The skills you have today might be for industries that don't exist in 20 years. Or worse, for industries that everyone's desperately trying to leave. Now here's the key. These 5 forces are not independent. They compound. Technology enables globalization, which increases competition, which forces companies to cut costs, which eliminates jobs, which creates economic insecurity, which destabilizes communities. It's a cascade, and most people are responding by doing exactly the wrong thing. They're working harder at the same game, longer hours at jobs that are getting automated, competing on price against global competitors, building skills that have shorter and shorter half-lives, hoping their company will take care of them when companies have zero loyalty anymore. This is where most people get it wrong. They think the solution is to be better at the old game, work harder, get more credentials, be more productive. But you can't win a game where the rules have fundamentally changed by just being better at the old rules. Gratton argues that to thrive in this new world, you need to make 3 fundamental shifts in how you think about work and build your career. Not tweaks, not optimizations. Fundamental shifts in your entire approach. Let me walk you through each one, because this is where it gets really practical. Shift number 1, from shallow generalist to serial master. Here's the traditional career path. You get a general education. You learn a bit about a lot of things. You join a company and become a generalist who can do many tasks reasonably well. You're fungible, replaceable, a cog in the machine. This worked when companies valued loyal generalists who could follow processes. It doesn't work when AI can follow processes better than humans and global competition means someone cheaper can do what you do. The new model? Serial mastery. You go deep on specific, valuable skills. You become genuinely excellent at something that matters. Then, crucially, you do it again and again. You build a portfolio of deep expertise over your lifetime. Let me give you a concrete example. Meet James. He started as a mechanical engineer, spent 10 years getting genuinely world-class at industrial robotics. Not just competent, but a true expert that companies specifically sought out. Then, instead of just coasting on that expertise, he saw that sustainability was becoming critical. He spent 5 years becoming a genuine expert in sustainable manufacturing processes. Now he's combining both. He's one of the very few people who deeply understands both industrial automation and sustainable design. He's irreplaceable. The crazy part is, most people never achieve mastery in even one domain. They stay generalists their whole career. They know a little about a lot and wonder why they're so easily replaceable. Gratton says you need at least 10,000 hours of deliberate practice to achieve genuine mastery. That's 5 years of focused, intense work. Most people never put in 10,000 hours on anything. They dabble. They do surface-level work. They move on before getting great. Serial mastery means you commit to going deep, achieving genuine expertise, then doing again in a complementary domain. You build a unique combination of deep skills that makes you valuable in a way that's hard to replicate or automate. Here's the key question. What are you willing to spend 10,000 hours mastering? And after you master that, what complementary skill will you master next? Shift number 2, from isolated competitor to innovative connector. The old model of work was competitive and isolated. You competed with coworkers for promotions. You kept your best ideas to yourself. Your network was your immediate colleagues and maybe some industry contacts you collected business cards from at conferences. This is suicide in the new world. Here's why. Innovation comes from combining ideas from different domains. The most valuable insights come from seeing patterns across disciplines that specialists miss. And opportunities increasingly come through networks, not job postings. The new model is what Gratton calls a posse and the regenerative community. You need 2 types of networks, and you need to invest in them like your career depends on it. Because it does. Your posse is your small group of like-minded people who will take risks with you. These aren't just friends. These are people with complementary skills who you trust enough to start a venture with, who will tell you hard truths, who will take your call at 2 a.m. when everything's falling apart. Think 3 to 5 people you have deep, reciprocal relationships with. Your regenerative community is your broader network of diverse connections. People in different industries, different geographies, different specialties. These are the people who expose you to new ideas, who see opportunities you'd never see, who can connect you to people and resources you need. Let me give you an example of how this works. Maria is a graphic designer. In the old model, she'd be competing with other designers for jobs, keeping her network small and focused. Instead, she built a posse of a developer, a copywriter, and a marketing strategist. Together, they can take on projects none of them could do alone. She also invested in a regenerative community, making genuine connections with people in tech, fashion, education, nonprofits. When a biotech startup needed to redesign their entire brand for a new product launch, they found Maria through one of her regenerative network connections. The project required her design skills, her posse's combined abilities, and insights from her network contacts in healthcare and consumer psychology. That one project led to 3 more and established her in a new niche she never would have found competing alone. The shift is from isolated competition to collaborative innovation. You stop thinking, how do I beat others? And start thinking, who can I create value with? This is where most people get it wrong. They think networking is about collecting contacts. It's not. It's about building genuine relationships where you provide value first. It's about curating a diverse set of connections and actually maintaining them. It's about being the person who connects others, who shares opportunities, who adds value to your network, so they want to reciprocate. Shift number 3, from voracious consumer to impassioned producer. This is a shift that most people find hardest because it requires fundamentally changing your relationship with time, money, and meaning. The old deal was simple. You worked hard, you made money, you consumed. Bigger house, nicer car, more stuff, fancier vacations. You measured success by your consumption level. You worked to fund a lifestyle of acquisition. Gratton says this model is not only unsustainable environmentally and economically, it's also psychologically destructive. The hedonic treadmill means you never get satisfied. You just want more. And at the end of a life spent consuming, you built nothing meaningful. The new model is about becoming an impassioned producer. You work on things that matter to you. You create value, not just consume it. You measure success by impact and meaning, not just by income and possessions. This doesn't mean becoming a monk. It means being intentional about what you consume and why, and ruthless about investing your time and resources in building things that matter. Let me show you what this looks like practically. David was a corporate lawyer, making $300K a year. By all conventional measures, successful, but he was miserable, his health was deteriorating, and he realized he was just funding a lifestyle that didn't actually make him happy. He made the shift. He cut his consumption by 60%, moved to a smaller place, sold a luxury car. This freed him to work part-time as a lawyer and spend the other half of his time building a nonprofit that provides legal services to refugees. His income dropped, but his fulfillment skyrocketed. More importantly, he's building skills and relationships in the social impact space that will sustain him through a 60-year career in ways that pure corporate law never could. The crazy part is, David's not unusual. Gratton's research shows that people who make this shift report dramatically higher life satisfaction, better health, better relationships, and ironically often more career security, because they're building something meaningful that people care about. This shift requires confronting some hard questions. What you actually need to be happy versus what you've been told you need. What would you create if you weren't constantly consuming? What impact do you want to have made when you look back at your life? Now here's where this gets really practical. You might be thinking, okay, I understand these shifts, but how do I actually make them? What do I do tomorrow? Let me show you exactly how to apply this to your own situation. Before we get into the action plan, you need to understand something critical. The future isn't one thing. Gratton creates 3 detailed scenarios of what work might look like in 2025 and beyond, and the choices you make now determine which scenario you end up in. Scenario 1, default future, the fragmented nightmare. This is what happens if you don't make the 3 shifts. Jane is in her late 40s working in a gig economy hellscape. She strings together multiple part-time jobs just to make ends meet. She does data entry for one company, customer service for another, content moderation for a third. She has no benefits, no security, no time for skill development because she's constantly hustling just to pay bills. Her skills are commoditized, so she competes on price against people globally. She's exhausted, isolated, and facing another 20 years of the same with no clear path out. The default future is fragmentation, fragmented work, fragmented relationships, fragmented time, fragmented self. You're always working but never building anything. You have lots of contacts but no real relationships. You're busy but not productive. You exist but you don't thrive. Scenario 2. Skilled artisan, mastery, and autonomy. This is what happens when you make the first shift successfully. Louis spent his 20s and 30s becoming a genuine master craftsman in architectural metalwork. Not just good, genuinely excellent. By his 40s, he sought after globally for high-end projects. He can charge premium rates because his work is unique. He chooses his projects. He works intensely for 8 months a year and takes 4 months off. His skills are deep enough that AI can't replicate them and cheap labor can't compete. He has autonomy, mastery, and purpose. The skilled artisan future is about being so good at something specific that you have bargaining power. You're not competing on price because you're not a commodity. You have the freedom to choose because people need what you uniquely offer. Scenario 3. Innovative connector. Creating new value. This is what happens when you make all 3 shifts. Amara spent her career building serial mastery in biotechnology and data science. She built a powerful posse of complementary experts. She cultivated a regenerative network across healthcare, tech, and policy. By her 50s, she's not working for a company. She's convening collaborations that solve important problems. She connects people and resources to create new ventures that address climate change and agriculture. She works on what matters to her. She's creating value in ways that didn't exist before. She's not waiting for someone to give her a job. She's creating opportunities. The innovative connector future is about creating new value by combining expertise, relationships, and purpose in unique ways. You're not filling a role someone else defined. You're defining new roles that address emerging needs. Here's the key. These aren't distant futures. They're already here. Some people are living scenario 1 right now. Others are living scenario 3. The question is, which future are you building toward? All right, enough theory. Let's get tactical. If you're an entrepreneur, a business owner, or someone building your career, here's exactly how you apply Gratton's framework starting tomorrow. Action step 1. Audit your current trajectory. First, you need brutal honesty about where you're headed. Ask yourself these questions. What percentage of my work could be automated by AI in the next 5 years? Be honest. If you're doing data entry, analysis that follows rules, repetitive creative work, customer service from scripts, you're at risk. What's your answer? What's my global competition? Could someone in another country do what I do for less money? If yes, why would someone pay my rates? What genuine mastery do I have? Not just competence, but deep expertise that makes me sought after. If you can't point to something you spent 10,000 hours deliberately practicing and getting genuinely excellent at, you don't have mastery yet. What's my network quality? Count your posse members. Do you have 3 to 5 people you could start a venture with tomorrow? Do you have a regenerated community of at least 50 diverse connections you've added value to? What am I producing versus consuming? Look at how you spent your time last week. How many hours went to consumption, entertainment, maintaining lifestyle? How many went to creating something meaningful? Write down honest answers. If the answers are uncomfortable, good. That means you're seeing clearly. Action step 2. Choose your mastery domain. You need to commit to serial mastery, which means choosing your first or next domain of deep expertise. Here's how you choose wisely. First, what do you have a genuine fascination with? Not what you think you should do or what pays well, but what could you obsessively practice for 5 years? Mastery requires intrinsic motivation because it's hard. If you don't love it, you won't put in the hours. Second, what is strong future demand? Look at Gratton's 5 forces. What skills become more valuable as technology advances, as globalization increases, as demographics shift? Skills in sustainability, in human connection, in ethical AI deployment, in aging and healthcare, in education transformation. These aren't getting automated. Third, what's complementary to what you already know? Serial mastery doesn't mean starting from zero every time. It means building skills that combine in unique ways. If you're a programmer, maybe you master human-centered design. If you're a marketer, maybe you master behavioral psychology. If you're a teacher, maybe you master educational technology. Pick one domain. Commit to 10,000 hours. That's roughly 5 years at 40 hours a week. Deliberate practice, not just showing up, getting feedback, pushing beyond your comfort zone, working with masters in the field. Write it down. I am committing to becoming a genuine master of specific domain by specific date. Make it concrete. Action step 3. Build your posse intentionally. Most people's networks form accidentally. You work with people, you meet them at events, you connect on LinkedIn, it's random. That's not a strategy. You need to intentionally build your posse and regenerate a community. Here's how. For your posse, identify 3 to 5 people with complementary skills who you genuinely like and trust. These should be people at roughly similar levels of ambition and capability. Not mentors, not ments, peers. Reach out to them explicitly. Say, I'm building a posse of people who can collaborate on ambitious projects. Want to be part of it. Meet monthly. Share challenges. Work on project together. This isn't networking. It's building a team. For your regenerative community, commit to the 100-person rule. Maintain genuine relationships with 100 people across diverse domains. That sounds like a lot, but here's the system. Divide them into categories based on how often you need to connect. 20 people you connect with monthly, 30 people quarterly, 50 people annually. Set calendar reminders. Don't let relationships die from neglect. More importantly, be a giver first. Introduce people in your network to each other. Share opportunities. Promote others' work. Write recommendations. Provide value before asking for anything. The people who build the strongest networks are the ones who are most generous. Start this week. Identify your potential posse members and reach out. Schedule your first posse meeting. Make a list of your regenerated community and set up your connection calendar. Action step 4. Design your portfolio life. The idea of working one job for 40 years and retiring is dead. You're going to work longer, which means you need more variety to stay engaged. Gratton talks about designing a portfolio life where you have multiple streams of activity that provide different types of value. This might mean having 3 part-time commitments instead of 1 full-time job. It might mean mixing paid work with pro bono work with learning time. It might mean having seasons where you work intensely followed by seasons where you rest and regenerate. Here's how to design this practically. Think in 5-year chapters. What do you want the next chapter of your life to look like? Not just your career, your whole life. Where will you live? Who will you spend time with? What will you be learning? What will you be producing? For each chapter, design a portfolio that balances 4 things. Income work that pays the bills. Mastery work where you're building deep expertise. Relationship work where you're strengthening your networks. Meaning work where you're creating impact. These might overlap. Your income work might also be your mastery work. Your relationship work might generate income. But be intentional about balancing all 4. Write out your next chapter. 5 years. What does success look like? What's your portfolio of activities? How much time and resources goes to each? Action step 5. Reduce your consumption baseline. Here's a harsh truth. Most people are trapped in high consumption lifestyles that require them to take any job that pays enough, even if it's soul destroying. Financial freedom isn't about making more money. It's about needing less money so you have choice. Gratton argues you need to intentionally reduce your consumption baseline so you can make the 3 shifts. This doesn't mean poverty. It means being intentional about what you actually need for happiness versus what you've been conditioned to want. Do this exercise. Track every dollar you spent last month, category by category. Now ask for each category, does this actually contribute to my happiness and well-being? Or is it just consumption for consumption's sake? You'll probably find that a significant portion of your spending is habitual, status-driven, or filling an emotional void. Cut ruthlessly. The money you free up isn't just money. It's time. It's freedom to spend a year retraining. It's ability to take a lower-paying job that builds more valuable skills. It's space to work on a startup without immediate revenue pressure. Gratton's research shows that people who reduce their consumption baseline by 30 to 50% often report higher life satisfaction, not lower. You're freed from the hedonic treadmill. You can focus on what matters. Set a target. Reduce your expenses by 30% over the next year. Then use that freed capacity to invest in mastery, relationships, or meaningful production. Now, if you're a business owner or manager, you need to understand how these shifts affect how you build and run organizations. Because if your employees are facing this new world of work, you need to adapt your organization accordingly or you'll lose your best people. First, forget about long-term employee loyalty based on security. You can't offer cradle-to-grave employment anymore. Nobody believes in it anyway. What you can offer is an environment where people build valuable skills, strong networks, and meaningful impact. Become a place where people want to work not because of job security, but because they're growing faster than they could anywhere else. This means investing heavily in learning and development, not just training for current job, but helping people build genuine mastery in domains that have long-term value. Think apprenticeship models, not just training programs. Second, design for portfolio lives. Let people work in flexible ways. Some people might want to work full-time for 2 years and half-time for a year while they pursue other projects. Some might want to take a 6-month sabbatical every few years. Build flexibility into how people contribute. The people who are building interesting portfolio lives are often your most creative and valuable employees because they're bringing diverse experiences and staying fresh. Third, facilitate connectivity. Help your people build their regenerative communities. Encourage cross-functional collaboration. Create structures for people to work with diverse teams. Pay for them to attend conferences not just in your industry, but adjacent ones. The innovation you need comes from combining perspectives, and that requires supporting people's networks. Fourth, connect work to meaning. People increasingly need to know that their work matters. Not just that they're making money, but that they're solving real problems for real people. Make impact visible. Show how what your company does creates value beyond just profit. The people who will thrive in the new world of work are those who care about production over consumption, and they want to work for organizations that share those values. Fifth, recognize that competition is giving way to collaboration. The best people aren't looking to compete with colleagues for promotions. They're looking to collaborate with talented people to create new value. Design your organization around projects and teams, not hierarchies and individual roles. Reward collaboration, not just individual performance. Let me give you the 5 biggest takeaways from Lynda Gratton's A Shift. 1. The old deal where you trade loyalty for security is dead. The 5 forces of technology, globalization, demographics, social change, and resource constraints have fundamentally reshaped work. You need a new strategy. 2. You must make 3 fundamental shifts. From shallow generalist to serial master. From isolated competitor to innovative connector. From voracious consumer to impassioned producer. These aren't optional if you want to thrive over a 60-year working life. 3. Your future isn't determined. You can end up in a fragmented nightmare, or you can become a skilled artisan or innovative connector. The choice is yours, but you have to act intentionally. Default paths lead to default futures. For mastery takes 10,000 hours. Serial mastery means going deep multiple times in your career, building combinations of expertise that are unique and valuable. This requires commitment and patience. 5. Your network is your net worth. Your posse and regenerative community are more valuable than any single employer or credential. Invest in relationships like your career depends on it, because it does. Here's the question I want to leave you with, and I really want you to think about this deeply. 20 years from now, when you look back at your career and your life, what do you want to have built? Not what job title will you have held, or how much money will you have made. What will you have actually created? What mastery will you have developed? What relationships will you have nurtured? What impact will you have had? Because the choices you make this week determine the answer to that question. The future of work isn't something that happens to you. It's something you build through 1,000 small decisions about how you spend your time, what you learn, who you connect with, and what you produce. If this video gave you clarity about how to build a future-proof career in a rapidly changing world, I need you to do 3 things. First, subscribe to this channel and hit that notification bell. We break down the most important books on business, strategy, personal development, and the future of work. Not superficial summaries, but deep dives that give you actionable frameworks you can use immediately. Second, share this video with someone who needs to hear it. An entrepreneur friend who's struggling to position their business for the future. A colleague who's worried about automation. A student who's trying to figure out what skills to build. These ideas can genuinely change someone's trajectory if they act on them. Third, leave a comment answering this question. Which of the 3 shifts do you most need to make, and what's the first action you're taking this week? Let's create accountability together. I read every comment. Remember, the future work is already here. It's just not evenly distributed yet. The question is whether you're building toward the future you want or drifting toward the future you'll get by default. Thank you for watching. Now go make those shifts